Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologic?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Is your government hiding information regarding aliens?
A NASA task force is holding its first meeting on UFOs, public meeting, I should say.
And does it know something you don't? Join us as we look at Congress finally showing alien evidence previously hidden from us. 20. President Gerald R. Ford. In 1966, former President Gerald R. Ford claimed to have seen a UFO. At least that's what Glenn Grothman said in his opening remarks to the much-anticipated Congressional Hearing on UFOs, which he convened. The lack of transparency around unidentified aerial phenomena has fueled wild conjecture and argument for decades, weakening public trust in the institutions designed to serve and protect them, as seen by the large number of people who attended this hearing. Did Ford, America's 38th president, ever claim to have seen a UFO in 1966? The short answer is no. Officials at the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Library stated they were unable to discover any records indicating that Ford, who died in 2006, ever claimed to have seen a UFO. The confusion was most likely caused by Ford's call in 1966 for a study into UFO occurrences in Michigan and the United States. Ford advocated for additional congressional hearings to question official witnesses, as well as people who claimed to have seen unknown craft, because he was dissatisfied with official explanations. 19. Congressional Hearing. In 2023, David Grush, a former Air Force officer and intelligence official, was questioned by journalists and testified before the United States House of Representatives. Grush said that the U.S. federal government had non-human spacecraft and dead pilots in its possession, as well as a hidden UFO recovery and reverse engineering operation. In 2022, Grush filed a whistleblower complaint with the Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General to support his plan to reveal secret information with the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. He also filed a complaint alleging retaliation from his superiors over a similar complaint he filed in 2021. He claimed to have seen records indicating that Benito Mussolini's administration recovered a non-human spaceship in 1933, which the Vatican and the Five Eyes assisted the United States in obtaining in 1944 or 45. Grush said that American individuals had been harmed or died because of the government's efforts to conceal such knowledge. In response, NASA and the U.S. Department of Defense said that no proof of extraterrestrial life had been discovered, and that there was no verified information concerning the U.S. government or commercial aerospace businesses having and reverse engineering any extraterrestrial materials. Grush restated several of his accusations under oath before the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Accountability in July 2023. Ryan Graves, a veteran fighter pilot, and David Fravor, a retired United States Navy commander, both testified about their encounters with UFOs. Grush said that he could not go much farther in public, but volunteered to reveal specifics to representatives in a sensitive compartmented information facility. In our thumbnail, we can see a man testifying in court, but he's not alone. He has a small alien with him who doesn't look like he's happy being there. Is this alien real? What do you think? 18. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, United States President from 1977 until 1981, reported seeing an unidentified flying object while in Leary, Georgia in 1969. Carter was ready to speak at a Lions Club meeting one evening in 1969, 2 years before becoming Georgia's governor. He said that around 7:15 p.m., one of the guests pointed out a strange, bright white object about the brightness of the moon, about 30 degrees above the horizon to the west of where they were standing. It continued toward them until coming to a halt beyond a stand of pine trees some distance away. The object then changed color, first to blue, then to red, and finally back to white, before appearing to fade into the distance. Carter believed the thing was self-illuminated and not solid in nature. According to Carter's allegation, around 10 or 12 other individuals witnessed the incident. 17. Crash landed on Mars. NASA has captured massive amounts of film of Mars throughout the years, including images, videos, and live streaming from rovers. A South African researcher has been searching through parts of this media and discovered something quite strange in photographs from 2006, what appears to be a UFO that crashed on the red planet. Gene Ward was reviewing images captured by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter when he noticed an unusual sight at the bottom of the Candor Cosma, a massive canyon in Mars's Valles Marineris region that is thought to be the Earth's equivalent of the Grand Canyon. It is thought to be the largest known canyon in the solar system, and Ward concentrated on what he described as a strange trench. The trench ends with a perfect disk that is mostly covered in sand and debris, and behind it, we have random dunes. It appears that a disc-shaped vessel or object approached Mars from a low angle and collided with its surface, leaving this unusual disc-shaped object behind. He then zooms in on the disc-shaped object, which he estimates to be 40 to 50 feet in diameter, noting that it is roughly the same width as the trench behind it. It appears to be a disc that has partially raised on one side after plowing into the surface. While some people dismissed the discovery as a sand dune or space trash, others thought it was much more significant, calling it a great find. 16. UFO lights above South China Sea. A video apparently taken by an American military pilot over the South China Sea shows a dozen mysterious flying objects near Hong Kong before they vanish into the sky. The video depicts 3 sets of 4 unusual light formations soaring in the distance above the clouds. It was filmed on November 24, 2021, and has since been widely shared on social media, prompting perplexing comments from people. Some believe the lights were alien planes, while others saw them as floating angels. However, some users speculated it could have been a military drill. The video concludes with the weird lights disappearing. The pilot, who was apparently flying at 39,000 feet, was close to Hong Kong when he noticed the lights flying together in the distance. The lights did not resemble any known aircraft. 15. Tim Burchett. In 2023, Republican Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee made a troubling comment about confidential UFO footage he claimed to have seen. Burchett stated that the UFO footage was not made public. During an appearance on the Event Horizon podcast, Burchett, a House Oversight Committee member, expressed his belief that extraterrestrial life forms may have technology beyond humanity's ability to handle. The House Oversight Committee had previously held hearings on potential hazards posed by unidentified anomalous phenomena, which is the government's designation for UFOs. Burchett's remarks came after whistleblower David Grush, a distinguished Air Force veteran, claimed that the government maintained a secret UFO retrieval program. 14. Mysterious red lights. A pilot flying over the Atlantic Ocean claimed to have seen a peculiar red glow above the waves. The pilot said he'd never seen anything like that. The unexplained crimson glow was eventually captured in pictures. It was also captured on camera, and the sight was terrifying, with online users unable to stop watching. Before departure, the pilot spotted a brilliant red or orange glow, which he confirmed by viewing a photo preview on the camera's back. There was supposed to be nothing but an infinite ocean for kilometers surrounding them. They appeared to be a distant city, or a bunch of traditional Asian squid fishing boats, but this was not the case here. The lights they observed were substantially larger than the ordinary yellow and white lights emitted by cities and ships. The brightness increased as they approached, illuminating the sky and clouds below them in an eerie orange glow that one might expect from a large fire on the ground, in an area of the world where there should be only water. Some believed it could be a harbinger of the end of the world, while others linked it to the television show Stranger Things. 13. Garrett Graph. According to Garrett Graph, when people inquire if UFOs exist, they are not asking the correct question. The question they are asking is if we are alone, because of course UFOs do exist. A UFO is simply an unidentified flying object, and there are things out there that we are unable to identify since we do not know what they are. Whether those are extraterrestrials is a totally distinct matter, and it may be irrelevant to the question of whether there are extraterrestrials. Graph expresses his opinion in the potential of alien civilizations in his latest book on UFOs, stating that probabilities point to the existence of life beyond Earth. He then links UFO theories to public suspicion of government and institutions, citing incidents such as the Watergate crisis. Graph finally discusses his upcoming oral history book on D-Day, highlighting how his work focuses on explaining and organizing difficult events in a comprehensible and thorough manner. 12. Edward Nugent. Between July 12 and 29, 1952, a series of unidentified flying object sightings were reported in Washington, D.C., which became known as the Washington Flap. The most widely recognized sightings were on consecutive weekends in 1952. At 11:40 p.m. on Saturday, July 19, 1952, Edward Nugent, an air traffic controller at Washington National Airport, saw 7 objects on his radar. The objects were around 15 miles south-southwest of the city. There were no recognized airplanes in the region, and the objects did not follow documented flight patterns. At this point, further objects emerged in all sectors of the radar scope, moving over the White House and the United States Capitol. Although Andrews Air Force Base detected no anomalous items on their radar, an airman quickly contacted the base's control tower to report the sighting of a weird object. Airman William Brady, who was in the tower, then noticed an object which appeared like an orange ball of fire, trailing a tail. It was unlike anything they had ever witnessed before. Brady attempted to inform the other people in the tower, but the mysterious object took off at unbelievable speed. At 3 a.m., just before two U.S. Air Force F-94 Starfire jet fighters landed over Washington. All the objects vanished from radar. However, after the planes ran out of fuel and left, the objects reappeared, convincing Barnes that the UFOs were monitoring radio traffic and behaving appropriately. 11. Zimbabwe Students. In 1994, 60 students at aerial school in Rua, Zimbabwe reported seeing a UFO and aliens with enormous eyes in the bush near their school playground. The story quickly spread all over the world. A BBC crew was among the first on the scene, speaking with students and instructors. There have also been sightings of odd lights and a craft in the sky in other locations of Zimbabwe, Zambia, and South Africa. The incident is one of the most fascinating UFO incidents of all time because of the large number of witnesses and the fact that it took place in Africa, whereas most high-profile sightings occur in the West. Many years later, many of the children continued to make astonishing claims about what they saw on September 16, 1994. Many people expressed disbelief and attempted to dismiss the incident as mass hysteria, but the witnesses remained steadfast, claiming it was all true. 10. Kelly Hopkinsville Case. The Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case or the Kelly Green Men case, was a reported close encounter with extraterrestrial creatures in 1955 near the towns of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Christian County, Kentucky, in the United States. Ufologists see it as one of the most significant and well-documented cases in UFO history, while skeptics argue that the claims were caused by the effects of excitement and misidentification of natural phenomena, such as meteors and owls. The U.S. Air Force categorized the reported occurrence as a fabrication in the Project Blue Book archives. Psychologists use the alleged encounter as an academic example of pseudoscience to help students distinguish between fact and fiction. 9. UFO over North Carolina. People online are trying to figure out what the unusual item seen on video in the skies just outside of Greensboro was. Brett Jones, who enjoys photographing birds, shot the video. He first described the thing as an unusual light in the sky near a plane. He saw a flash in the corner of his eye and turned over to see a plane, and then saw the flash again. But this time, it was very close to him. He already had his camera fastened to his body and was attempting to record it, but when he glanced at the footage and scrolled, he had no idea what it was. Some people argued it was just a balloon, but Jones claimed the flashing silver and gold lights convinced him otherwise. If he saw clear evidence that it was a balloon, he would say so. However, after 10 seconds, he could not see anything anywhere in the sky. Why would a balloon, if it was only spinning around, disappear? So what was it? A spaceship? An experimental airplane? A balloon? Let us know what you think in the comments below. 8. Roswell UFO. A dusty, unmarked road leads to the front gate of Area 51 in the center of the desolate Nevada desert. It is only surrounded by a chain-link fence, a boom gate, and ominous trespassing signs. Decades of wild speculation have surrounded what happens within Area 51. There are alien conspiracies that say extraterrestrial aliens are hidden inside. One of the more outlandish theories claims that the notorious 1947 Roswell crash was caused by a Soviet plane piloted by mutant midgets, and that the debris is still on Area 51's grounds. The Roswell incident was actually a series of occurrences and beliefs surrounding the 1947 crash of a U.S. Army Air Force's balloon near Roswell, New Mexico. The balloon, operated from nearby Alamogordo Army Airfield as part of the top-secret Project Mogul, was designed to detect Soviet nuclear testing remotely. After Roswell, Army airfield workers retrieved metallic and rubber debris. The U.S. Army proclaimed the discovery of a flying disc. This announcement received international attention, but was quickly withdrawn. The Army later claimed that the crashed balloon was a standard weather balloon, concealing its true purpose and origin. 7. Stan Michalak. Stefan Michalak was an industrial mechanic by trade and an amateur geologist who liked to prospect for quartz and silver in the wilderness around Falcon Lake, about 150 kilometers east of Winnipeg, Canada. Stefan, 51, was near a quartz vein along the Precambrian Shield in the area on May 20, 1967, when he was startled by a flock of nearby geese that erupted in a clattering of honks. Stefan looked up and saw two cigar-shaped objects with a reddish glow hovering about 45 meters away, according to his accounts. One descended, landing on a flat section of rock in the shape of a disc. The other hung around for a few minutes before taking off. Stefan sat back and sketched it for the next half hour, convinced it was a secret U.S. military experimental craft. Then he decided to approach, recalling the warm air and sulfur smell as he got closer, as well as the sound of motors whirring and air hissing. He also noticed a door open on the side with bright lights inside, and he claimed to have heard voices muffled by the craft's sounds. He claimed to have called out, offering mechanical assistance to the Yankee boys if they required it. The voices fell silent but did not respond, so Stefan tried in Polish, Russian, and finally German. Only the craft's whir and hiss responded. The craft then began to turn counterclockwise, and he was hit in the chest by a blast of air or gas, which pushed him backward and ignited his shirt and cap. As the craft lifted off and flew away, he ripped away the burning garments. Stefan stumbled through the forest, dizzy and nauseous, and vomited. He eventually returned and was treated at a hospital for burns on his chest and stomach, which later turned into raised sores in a grid-like pattern. Though he wished he hadn't said anything, Stefan never abandoned the story. He also never claimed to have seen aliens and continued to believe that it was a secret military craft. 6. WOW signal. 50 years after a mysterious radio signal was received by an Earth-based radio telescope, astronomers believe they may have discovered its source. A radio telescope picked up an unusual signal that lasted only 1 minute and 12 seconds on August 15, 1977, at 11:16 p.m. The Big Ear radio telescope detected the radio signal, which is still the most likely candidate for an alien origin 45 years later. When astronomer Jerry Amon saw the printout of the signal, he dubbed it WOW. He circled it and wrote WOW, giving it the mysterious name. According to a recent study, the 40-year-old signal originated from a sun-like star 1,800 light-years away. The Gaia archive contains data on 66 G and K-type stars, but only one has been identified as a potential sun-like star. The hydrogen clouds from comets 266P Christensen and P2008Y2 are thought to be the cause of the signal. As of 2023, the WOW signal remains the most powerful potential search for extraterrestrial intelligence signal. According to the study, this potential source becomes an excellent target for conducting observations in search of technosignatures. Another 2 candidate stars have a luminosity error interval that includes the sun's luminosity, and 14 more candidates have been identified as potential sun-like stars, though their luminosity estimates are uncertain. After 1977, the signal was never repeated. Many observatories conducted follow-up studies in the area over several years and never discovered another one. 5. Jellyfish UFO over U.S. military base. UFO journalist Jeremy Corbell shared footage of a jellyfish UAP seen in Iraq in 2018. The footage appears to have been recorded at a U.S. joint operation base in Iraq, and the Pentagon has formally categorized the object as an unknown aerial phenomenon. The footage was captured with a thermographic/forward-looking infrared radar. The device, which resembles a jellyfish, passed through a sensitive military installation before crossing over water and beginning what Corbell characterizes as a controlled drop before submerging. After 17 minutes, the UAP reappeared from the ocean and disappeared quickly. According to those who have seen the complete footage or witnessed the event, the UAP was not visible in night vision, appeared to jam the optical platform's targeting capability, and displayed positive lift without the usual means of lift and thrust, with no propulsion maneuver signatures present. 4. Transon Provence case. The Transon Provence case involved an unidentified flying object that is said to have left tangible evidence in the shape of charred residue on a field. The occurrence occurred on January 8, 1981, outside the town of Transon-Provence in the French province of Var. It was described as possibly the most thoroughly and meticulously documented sighting of all time. According to the witness, the contraption resembled 2 saucers, one inverted on top of the other. It must have been around 1.5 meters tall. It was the color of lead. This device has a ridge all around its perimeter. He noticed 2 types of parts underneath the machine as it lifted. They may be reactors or feet. There were 2 other circles that resembled trapdoors. The 2 reactors, or feet, extended approximately 8 inches below the machine's body. The witness reported the object took off nearly immediately, rising above the tree line and heading northeast. It left burn traces on the ground where it purportedly sat. The local gendarmerie was notified of the incident the next day. They interviewed the witness, photographed the site, and obtained soil and plant samples from the field. The case was eventually forwarded to government UFO experts for assessment. 3. Gulf Breeze UFO. The Gulf Breeze UFO event was a series of reported UFO sightings near Gulf Breeze, Florida, in the United States in late 1987 and early 1988. Beginning in November 1987, the Gulf Breeze Sentinel newspaper published numerous images given by local contractor Ed Walters that purported to show a UFO. Ufologists such as Bruce Maccabee believed the images were authentic, but others suspected they were a fabrication. A few years later, Pensacola News Journal writer Craig Myers investigated Walters' accusation, calling the Sentinel's coverage of the story uncritical and sensationalist. After Walters and his family relocated, the new owners discovered a styrofoam model UFO stashed in the attic. Using the miniature UFO, Myers was able to almost reproduce the object completely in Walters' images. Walters later stated that the model UFO was planted in the attic. 2. Google Map Captures UFO. People continue to report weird UFO sightings, and another of these flying objects was recently found floating just outside the Bermuda Triangle using Google Street View. Google Street View makes it possible to virtually visit practically any location on Earth. A recent encounter using Google's function revealed a strange UFO floating above a Florida marsh in broad daylight, right beyond the Bermuda Triangle. Google Street View has previously detected odd objects, making it impossible to determine their identity and fueling UFO rumors. In this case, according to a Google Maps user, the item is multicolored and slightly ovular in shape. The so-called UFO is only seen at a single fixed point in time. When the virtual location is changed to where the cameras acquired the next image, the object is no longer accessible. In all likelihood, a UFO might avoid staying for too long in the same place, so we may never find out what it is. 1. UFO on Live. A UFO was seen during a live morning newscast in Oklahoma City. Shortly after the brightly lighted, fast-moving object appeared on TV, Coco 5 News shared the video to YouTube and invited people to share their thoughts on the bizarre incident. The Coco News camera, which captured the mysterious light, was mounted on the roof of the Grand Casino in Shawnee, east of Oklahoma City. The live coverage was focused on morning traffic when a bright object flashed across the sky from left to right. The UFO was identified as a streaking, glowing body. As it went lower through the screen, it was not high in the sky because it was visible more in the foreground than in the background, passing in front of ground objects before disappearing, and the movie ending. Reports of an unidentified flying object often bring up notions of alien visitors in the public's mind. Of course, in almost every case, the phenomenon can be explained, but many other sightings remain unexplained. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thank you for watching and see you next time.